But now, Michael Aspel, and This Is Your Life.
I'm at the Ritz Snooker Hall in Twickenham, where one of the world's most talented players and the recently crowned UK champion is having an exhibition match with John Big Break Virgo. And I'm going to surprise him with the rather unusual red. I'm sorry to break in on your break, but I am indeed here to say that tonight, whirlwind of the snooker table, Jimmy White, this is your night.
Don't open it yet. I haven't quite a full yet.
That's empty yet. You don't seem to have got very far.
No, I ain't quite the ball yet.
Well, we'd better
I knew something happening.
You suspected, did you?
No,
but not this.
No, not this, no.
No one ever
What can I
suspected.
say? Everyone speaks this, don't I?
Well, Jimmy, here you are with a full house of Whites, your wife Maureen and mother Lillian, father Tommy, sister Jackie, and brothers Martin, Tommy and Tony, and along with your best friends, your loyal fan, Shane Halls. Yeah. And here with John Virgo from the world of snooker, friendly rivals of yours, Tony Knowles, Steve James, Tony Drago and Ronnie O'Sullivan, and snooker pals Danny Bratt, coach Alan Bell, promoter Barry Hearn, Henry West, Ronnie Gross, and stuntman Rocky Taylor.
Yeah, old Rock.
Now, you admit to having modelled yourself on another unpredictable genius of the Green Bays, and we see him here using you as a stooge for one of his trick shots during an exhibition of 1982.
Doesn't he look well like this? You'll have to move up a bit, Beth.
Oh, no. I've done anything to keep
the last time I played a trick shot, a star appeared in the east. And here we go, black in the top. Left-hand pocket. Oh! Is that good? You like that?
You met each other in the semi-finals of the World Championships in that same year.
Jimmy looking rather sad. So Jimmy White concedes.
Well, you were beaten 16-15 in what was considered one of the great classic encounters. It was the hurricane meeting the whirlwind.
And suddenly there was a whirlwind as well as a hurricane gracing snooker on collision course.
The people's champion, Alex Higgins. Alex, Jimmy's always given you credit for being his inspiration.
Yes, Michael, it's very, very good that my dear friend Jimbo, it's my pet name for Jimmy, that he's like a left-handed version of the right-handed one, the Hurricane, and he's also been a very, very good friend. And what can I say? I'm so pleased for him this evening.
God bless you. Thank you.
Cheers, man.
One more thing, though. He's always been as unpredictable as you off the table as well as on, hasn't he?
Well, let's put it this way, that all rockers play hard, and if he had been a left lead guitar, being a left-hander, I'd have been the right lead.
Ronnie's, yeah.
Ronnie who?
Yeah.
Oh, the Stones, yeah. Yes. And the ideal thing is that what rockers do is nobody's business because they're unpredictable.
God bless you, Mike.
And genius helps as well. Thank you very much, Alex Higgins.
Cheers, Dad. Very good.
Well, also here tonight we have 3 more former world champions. The old master John Pulman, 1986 title holder Joe Johnson, and 6 times champion Steve Davis, along with your manager and mentor, Alan Stockton.
Hello, Joseph. Hello, Steve.
You seem good friends, that's nice.
Yes,
Now,
he's my mate.
these are some of the shots from your locker which make you one of the most exciting players in the game. The Whirlwind in full flow and holding aloft there the UK Championship trophy you won in such style last year. Now, you've been described as something of a rolling stone of snooker, and here is somebody who should know. He left this message just before going to the States. It is your friend, Stones guitarist Ronnie Wood.
Hello, Jimmy. As you probably realised, there wasn't a tournament for you to go to tonight. It must have been hell to get you there tonight. But I remember when we first met, when our daughters were in the Christmas show at the Wimbledon school, when you came stumbling through the door with your video camcorder, and I was still trying to work mine, and then we realised that we'd both run out of battery life on our cameras, and then we decided to go for a drink. So after that, I tried to give you guitar lessons, and you tried to give me snooker lessons, which is the worst thing in the world because you're the world's worst guitar player and I'm a useless snooker player. But thanks for setting up my snooker place in Ireland for me. And all I can say is I hope you have a great time tonight. And I've got something under my chair for you, and that's cheers and many more of them.
Yo, Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie Wood. Now, Ronnie mentioned that your daughters go to the same school, and there are 4 altogether, and as we see here, they are all gathered at a special exhibition match. 4-year-old Ashley, 3-year-old Georgia, and 2-year-old Breeze, keeping an eye on the latest White Whirlwind, 12-year-old Lauren.
I look under pressure.
That's the way to do it, Dad.
Well, thanks very much to the lovely White sisters. Now, Ashley, Georgia and Breeze are tucked up in bed, but Lauren is here. Well, James Warren White, this is your life. You were born in Balham, South London, on May the 2nd, 1962, the 5th child of Tommy, a carpenter, and Lillian. Now, how old were you, Jimmy, when you first picked up a snooker cue?
I was about 11 when I fell in love with the game. About 10, we was playing through it from school, and we used to go in the place to keep out in the rain. And 11, I fell in love with the game and played ever since.
Well, funny you should mention that, because you started paying regular visits to Zan's snooker hall in Tooting, despite warnings about the danger of a misspent youth. In fact, you spent more time there than at the Ernest Bevin school.
I told you that you would never be able to make a living playing snooker.
He was your housemaster at school after Beatty.
Right. Oh, that's great.
That's the first time you've embraced a teacher, I'm sure. But Jimmy proved you wrong, of course.
Yeah, he certainly did. We did everything to try and get him into school.
Yeah.
We made numerous agreements and arrangements to make sure he attended. But the cue and the chalk always seemed to come first.
Took over.
Yeah.
But I must interrupt. You know, he had faith in me, you know, and he put a little bit of your job on the line as well, didn't you, to let me play in the afternoon. Because I used to sign on in the morning, and in the afternoon I used to have the time off, thanks to this gentleman. You know what I mean?
That's what you were going to say, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
No?
Oh, sorry. What was your version?
We did try to get him into school. We tried to do everything for him.
You did, yeah. You still got a job.
Ernest Bevin's... Ernest Bevin's still a great school with great lads.
Oh, fantastic school.
All right, and
Fantastic school.
they hold you in high esteem. They're proud of you being a Tooting lad doing well, and I hold you in a great affection, as with the rest of the family. All right, you're welcome.
Thank you, Arthur Beatty.
That's great. Willie.
There was another boy from the same school who spent nearly as much time as you at the snooker hall, and you have remained the best of friends.
Can you remember, Jimmy, what happened on table 16 at Zan Snooker Hall?
Another snooker star from downtown Tooting, Tony Mio, with his wife, Denise.
Hello.
Tony, what happened on table 16?
Well, Jimmy, he was only 13 and he made a 100 break. In those days, it was a fantastic achievement.
And there was another reason you remember the early days, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. Denise and Maureen were best of friends at school together, and we all started going out about the same time. I got married, Jimmy got married, and we've always stayed closest of friends.
Thank you both very much. Tony and Denise. Well, here you are at 14, already looking the part of a young snooker master. You set a string of records, becoming at 16 the youngest English amateur champion, and 2 years later you go down all the way to Tasmania to become the youngest world amateur champion. I suppose it's fair to say, Jimmy, back in the early days, you were a bit of a hustler.
Tony was. I just followed him around.
Now, Steve Davis, a few months later, in his first professional season, you and Jimmy met in the World Championships.
Yes, well, it was a close affair in the end, but I was relieved, really. I think everybody's relieved when they get over the line against Jimmy, but over the years he's just remained such a force in the game. And I was listening to something that Gary Sober said recently, and he said, like, form was up and down, but class is permanent. And I think the one thing Jimmy's always had and oozed out is class. Great player.
Thank you.
Now, on March the 29th, 1982, you and Maureen marry at Wandsworth Register Office, and Maureen, it has been quite an adventure, I should think.
Well, as you can say, yes, as you can see, I mean, yeah, life is never dull with Jimmy, that's true.
But he loves being at home with the girls.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah, he's very good with them. Mm.
And John Virgo, John, now you've travelled the world with this lad, haven't you?
Well, I have, Michael, yeah. One of the great stories I remember when I was flying to Australia, which takes about 25 hours to get there. There was myself, Tony, Willie, Thorne and Jimmy, and we're all playing cards on the plane for 25 hours. And when we arrived there, about 9 o'clock in the morning...
Willie knocked again, did he?
Willie lost again, yeah.
No, knocked.
Oh, he knocked? No, I don't think he knocked. I think he paid up. And We arrived about 9 o'clock in the morning, so Jimmy said he was going to have a practice, and I said, well, I'm going to try and get a bit of sleep, you know. Anyway, I heard he went to the City Tatters Halls Club in Australia and made 147 break first visit. So after 25 hours without sleep, it's credit to his natural ability. But I think the most important thing I think we've got to remember, like we got Steve here tonight, you know, when Steve was ruling the roost in the 80s, it'd been quite easy for Jimmy White to change his style. But he kept playing to his natural ability, his flair, entertaining the people. And here we are at the present day, and he's #1 in the world, and that's why everybody loves him. Great performance.
Thank you. Well, it was another remarkable 147 break that earned you a £100,000 bonus in last year's World Championships.
Only Cliff Thorne has made this break once before at the Crucible.
129.
Well, it's getting to me as well, but it's not too bad. He's left-handed, just stun the blue in and leave yourself just a pink to roll in, although nothing's easy now.
134.
£100,000 for Jimmy White if he can knock the pink and black in.
Quite magnificent. Jimmy White creates history at the Crucible Theatre. A magnificent 147. Tony Drago hugs in. The frame score doesn't really matter, but it's Jimmy White who takes the frame before the mid-session interval.
Tommy, let me bring you in. As Jimmy's dad, you've rarely missed one of his big tournaments. That must have been a very proud moment.
He was worth every penny of it. Blimey. And what an unpredictable boy he is. Beautiful. He's lovely.
Well, your first major victory as a professional comes in the Benson and Hedges Masters tournament in 1984. In the final, you conquer a former world champion who once tried to give you a dressing down.
And I'm not in my insurance salesman suit tonight, Jimmy.
The Welsh master of the table, Terry Griffiths. Terry, hi. Tell us about the suit.
Well, it was in the earlier days. Jimmy just joined up in the matchroom team then, and we had an early flight out of Heathrow, and Jimmy turned up looking a bit rough. And I had this three-piece suit on, which he always had on, which Jimmy used to take the mick out of me. And he turned around and said, is that your insurance suit? Because I always had it on, you know. And he said, you're always never short of wit, you know. And he turned around, as I walked away, he said, you a policeman then? Because I told him about his clothes, you know. But good times. Good times, Jim.
Thank you. Terry Griffiths.
Thank you very much.
And here is another of your keenest supporters taking time off to talk to you during a training session, World WBC Super Middleweight Champion Nigel Benn.
Hi, Jimmy. Sorry I can't be there tonight. As you know, I'm preparing to defend my title. But you've given me some great nights watching you play snooker. And when I first met you, it was more nerve-wracking meeting you than meeting the Queen. But what I'd like to say is have a brilliant night and keep up the good work.
God bless you.
Thank you, Nigel Benn.
Thank you very much.
Now, we have heard about your love of a flutter, and you often pair up on the snooker circuit with a player
Someone I owe money to.
who has been known to punt a pound or two.
Oh, not Willie.
But I'm still refusing to pay our Hong Kong bet.
Yes, your good friend, Willie Thorne. Willie, you're about to tell us about a Hong Kong bet.
Well, Jimmy and I have always had a few games of cards, as John mentioned on the airway, and we were sitting by the swimming pool. You probably remember Jimmy at Hong Kong. We decided that we'd find out who was the best swimmer.
And of course, we both dived in. We'd had a bet of 50 or 100 pounds.
Then.
Exactly, that's what I'm going to say. And you completely carved me up, and I refused to pay because you're supposed to go in a straight line, and Jimmy went straight across, and I wouldn't pay. So that's one bet I owe you. One bet I owe you.
Well, apart from that, you were the first to spot his potential, really.
Well, not really the first, but I came to
to
Balham actually. Patsy Fagan and myself came down to open a snooker club in Balham, and we played against Tony Meo and yourself, and I was thankfully giving you 14 start because you could probably give me 14 at the time. And he then actually came down to Leicester a couple of times, and it was without doubt that you were going to be a future champion, Jimmy, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening.
Thank you, Willie. Now, somebody who's made quite an impression on you is a comedian who closely follows your career, and he's also followed you in a car.
That was the day, Jimmy. I really had your number.
Bobby Davro.
I've got to tell you something. This lad, he's a litterbug, this fella. He's a litterbug. I'm flying along in the car, right, going to that soon after game. I'm flying along in my car, going to a gig. And we're up on the M25. We're going at, about 20 mile an hour, because that's all you can do on the M25. You have to throw a 6 to get off. I'm in the car, really bored. All of a sudden, I get behind this great big stretch limo, and it's got the 147 number plate. Is that it?
Chicken out the window.
It was you in the back.
Robbo.
There's chicken legs, Kentucky fried chicken boxes, fish and chips, paper coats. We were sort of trying to drive to avoid the Coke cans. But I'll tell you what, he's very generous, because I'm a bit of a snooker player myself, and I'm not known as the Hurricane or the Whirlwind. I'm Drafty Davro, I call myself.
It's Alex.
Well, I promise I won't do Alex tonight. I promise. I said, can you give me some tips? And he said, try cutting 6 inches off your snooker cue. I said, well, that improved my game. He said, no, it'll fit in the dustbin a lot better.
Thank you, Bobby. Well, you have decorated the World Championship with some of the finest snooker ever seen, but so far the big prize, the world title, has eluded you. You are now at #1 in the rankings, and the form you showed here when winning the 1992 UK Championship is what all your fans will want to see in this year's World Championships.
So the blue now to be the champion. And there it is. So the applause, fractionally premature. But there it is. Just listen to that applause for a really wonderful champion. So Jimmy White, the new United Kingdom champion, wins by 16 frames to 9.
And you completed a hat-trick of runners-up places in 1992 against a young Scot who remains in awe of you.
For me, it was like beating the master of the game.
Reigning world champion, Stephen Hendry. Stephen, you beat Jimmy in the world finals of 90 and 92, but to you, he is still tops.
That's right. When I first started, Jimmy was always my hero. And he played a match and he gave me a pound note that said to the next Jimmy White from Jimmy White, but there's only one Jimmy White.
Good man. Only one Stephen.
And Jimmy White, this is your life.
Thank you very much.